Since icons are usually simplified visual representations of the real world, they are most frequently visually very simple. Like for example, this icon. It's basically just a circle and a line. So two very simple shapes combined together to look like a magnifying glass. And in this video, we're going to go in the opposite direction. So we're going to take this simplified visual representation and we are going to create something that is visually complex and arguably more visually interesting. So let's get started. And I'm going to start by using an ellipse tool by pressing O on my keyboard and then clicking once. So this is going to create a huge circle that I'm going to then shrink to be about this size. So I don't know, like 20, 30 could be enough. Also, it's a good idea to create whenever you're creating something like an icon or an illustration. It's good to be aware of the final constraints in terms of size. For this case, I think I'm gonna go for 100 by 100. So that's basically, significantly larger than this icon. So then I'm going to place this circle inside of this frame and make it significantly larger because again, we want to match, the sizes. We need to make this look reasonable, right? So the thing we're gonna do is, of course, we're gonna create a handle. So far, this is really similar to what you can see on the left side, but it's gonna start getting quite more complicated as we go on. So I'm using the stroke panel on the right side to increase the stroke width. I think I'm gonna do, something like this. By the way, I accessed these individual vertices by pressing Enter on my keyboard and then simply using my mouse to to move these around. Since magnifying glass is made of glass, then probably what I'm thinking we could do here is have some sort of a translucent central part of this shape, I guess, and then a frame around that glass that will be connected, of course, to this. To be able to appreciate the translucent quality of the quote-unquote glass, we're gonna have to create a background for this frame that's gonna be somehow complex visually, at least to a certain extent. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take a simple ellipse here that I'm gonna set to white and then change that to a radial gradient and move it so that we get this shape right here. And the next thing I'm going to do is actually, I think I'm going to remove this black overlay and then just choose a color like, let's go for a blue like this for now, only for now. And then we also might add another color that's going to work well with what we currently have, which could be like this, I guess, and do again a radial gradient. So we want to make this somehow visually interesting. Don't worry, we're gonna refine whatever we have currently on screen as we go on. So I'm gonna set this to overlay so that it just looks interesting, I guess. I think I'm gonna duplicate and then shrink this, maybe even blur it actually. So layer blur and then play around with the values. I guess that could be one way to approach things. I'm gonna round these corners as usual. And this looks quite solid for current purpose. I am going to turn off the fill. So for this circle, right? So right now, as you can see, it looks as if it's transparent. However, it is not believable, I'd say. Okay, so I'm gonna go for outside on this little frame, and then I think I'm gonna do effects and then background blur like 12. However, you cannot really see any blur because there is no fill, which means I'm gonna add a fill as well. I'm gonna go for white with the multiply effect, which is going to basically create a fake kind of a fill, because a completely white color with the blend mode set to multiply is actually not going to do anything. I'm not going to go into the details, but essentially multiplying means darkening whatever's behind that object. So of course, with a white color, you cannot darken anything. All right. So now you can see the background blur in effect. You can see how it's kind of blurring whatever's behind that. So that's exactly what we need. Then I'm going to add a new fill. I'm going to go for white, and I'm going to do a radial gradient from that. Right, so I'm going to be using a lot of radial gradients. Now I think I'm going to go for a white stroke. So change this to white. And then also I think I'm going to go for this little handle, enter, and then keep on adjusting this top left one until I get whatever I'm satisfied with. So then I'm going to select both of these, Option D, Option S, and keep moving this one until I get something like this. All right. So the reason why I just did this is I made sure that when you extend this line, it kind of goes through the exact middle of the glass, right? That's usually how it is with an object like this. So I was basically just making sure that we are going to be geometrically precise. All right, so this handle is going to be quite wide. I would go for like 7 with this frame around the glass, with this border around the glass. I think I'm going to go for 3 or 4. Let's go for 3. And then I'm going to duplicate this line and then enter, and then again using my arrows to extend this. I'm gonna make this narrower and move it into the background behind the first line by pressing Command left bracket. Right? So Command right bracket and Command left bracket is how you keep moving these objects that you have currently selected within the context of these layers. Okay. So yeah, then I'm going to select this and experiment with the appearance. So I think overlay again could be a nice little touch, I guess. Yep. Let's go with this for now. I think this is nice. And additionally, what I'm gonna do is turn this stroke into overlay as well, so that we get this. Okay. Now it looks kind of strange with this overlap over here. So most likely I'm going to press enter and then move this 1 pixel outside of the frame. And then I think I'm going to add another white stroke that is not going to be overlay, which means you'll get a difference. So this is a different kind of white. You can see that white stroke gradient is completely white, whereas this one is pink. And that's again because of the blend mode. That's the blend mode right here. And that's the reason why it interacts with the background. Let's continue with the radial gradient. Let's experiment with the position of this. Let's see what looks interesting. I'm mainly concerned with whether we want to place this white glow to the top left or the bottom right. I think top left makes the most sense. Also, I'm now more inclined to do 4 on this glass frame, which also, of course, means, again, we're gonna have to deal with this little thing over here. Yeah, actually, now that I look at this, I think leaving a little gap looks quite nice, don't you think so? I think we're gonna keep that. I think we also need to move this further down and then extend this again further down to, you know, make it more real looking, essentially. All right, so, and now you can see when you compare these two things, these two icons, it's basically the same thing. This one over here is basically just visually more complex, more interesting. It could be used like an app icon, for example, or just a more interesting search icon, I guess. Yeah, so let's continue with making this stroke narrower, 4 to be exact, and then let's think about what we could do next. So I think what could look nice is adding a little glow, like a reflection of the light, of the fictional light within this glass element. So why don't I duplicate this, shrink this, remove strokes, remove this fill, remove this blend mode, and keep it at normal to get just a regular ellipse, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate this again, select both of these ellipses, and then subtract selection so that we get whatever this is, all right? So right now we can experiment with the position of individual circles in the subtract element. We could make this subtracting ellipse a bit larger so that we get, you know, this little thing over here. We could think about whether we want to blur this as well. So why don't we try blurring this, layer blur, like, I don't know, maybe that works, I think. Yeah, that looks solid. But I think I'm gonna move this by making this smaller and making this smaller as well, so that we move this, you know, slightly towards the middle. All right, so yeah, I think I'm gonna go back a few points. Yeah, this is solid. So why don't I again duplicate this, remove the blur, and then simply move this bigger ellipse to get a symmetrical counterpart of this, and think about if we could do something with this, like making it black and adding a overlay. Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe, yeah, maybe making it blurry could work. Not sure though. So yeah, that's just the way it is. With all of design, you just keep on experimenting and keep on, you know, trying out new things, new elements. This doesn't really look promising, so I think I'm gonna remove that. Yeah, let's see what it looks like from the distance. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, I'm gonna go without this. What about overlay on this element? Yeah, I think that's nice. We could also do a gradient on this fill, on the subtract component, subtract element, sorry, so that it is, you know, more prominent over here and then less prominent in this area. Yep. I guess this could work. Let's see if I still like this 5 minutes later. Okay, so the next thing I'm inclined to do is create a shadow. So let's do a shadow on this main ellipse that is going to be positioned over here. We're going to have a negative spread to decrease the size of this shadow, but increased blurriness to have, you know, a really gradual shadow appearance, I guess. And I'm going to make sure this is on the top, which it is. That's brilliant. And I think I'm going to press Command-Shift-O to turn this into a rectangle from a stroke. So against that, again, that is Command-Shift-O. And I think I'm gonna round these two corners to be like 2 or 3, maybe 4. Yeah, just to make it fully rounded and keep this fully sharp. Maybe make it even wider. Let's try that. Nope. That's too wide, definitely. Maybe just moving these. And yeah, so the next thing we could do is create some depth in this area. That could be achieved by using an inner shadow. So that's inner shadow. Move it towards the right and bottom. Decrease the blurriness. Maybe increase the spread. Let's just see whatever works. So that's 3 and 3, right? You can see we do get some depth as if this frame was extending above the glass, which is exactly what we need. Let's experiment with blurring this shadow. Okay, I think that looks really promising. Let's keep increasing the size of this shadow. Let's experiment with shadow opacity to see what we like the best. Let's experiment with blurriness, and yeah, I think this overall looks very, very solid. I'm gonna probably duplicate this radial gradient on the stroke and try if we could position this somewhere along this edge and make it look interesting. I think we could right about here, but I think we're gonna make it more muted. And Additionally, I think what we did with the black shadow over here, I think we could do with a white shadow over here. So let me duplicate that inner shadow. Let me add -3 instead of +3. Let me change that to white, and let's see what's the result that we get. Increase the blur maybe, change that to overlay, perhaps. Yeah, I think we could make this work. Yeah, maybe mute it to about 16. Okay. Now this little part over here, I think is really muted. I think we could increase that in prominence. So I'm gonna increase the stroke opacity, and then I'm gonna duplicate the whole object and decrease that in opacity. I think we could also group all of this, so Command G, and rename this to handle, just so that we know what's going on. Then similar with this little reflection, let's call this reflection, and with this, let's call that class. With this, let's call that background ellipse 2, and this one background ellipse 1. This whole thing is going to be called search icon complicated. What I think we could also do is just add a shadow on this whole thing, this whole situation that we have. It's going to be really blurry. I'm going to also sample the color from right about here. Yep, I do like that. Maybe reduce the opacity and maybe group this so that we lose this frame label. Okay, let's think about increasing the stroke width. I think 4.5 might actually work. Yeah, let's move this away from the glass like this. I think that works perfectly. I'm also going to add a stroke. So I'm going to add a white stroke on the frame, and it's going to be overlay. Okay, overlay, and it is going to be again a radial gradient that's going to start on the top, and I'm going to increase the stroke width again. Then I'm going to duplicate this and then change these to black and move that to the bottom so that we get this situation with these edges. I think that looks kind of nice. I think 3 is too much, maybe 2. Yeah, I guess. Let's see what it looks on a white background. So that's white. Yeah, I think it looks kind of solid. So as usual, the possibilities are endless. You can decrease or increase the background blur. I do personally prefer a stronger background blur. You can see during this process how we went from a simple icon to a more visually complex, more visually rich kind of representation of this action. And yeah, I think this is especially useful for projects like app icons, logos. In UI design, you usually don't want to go overboard with effects. So in UI design, this is definitely more usable, but I just think it's a nice exercise to try and create some type of eye candy for your projects, for your clients. And this is definitely one way to do it. Just keep increasing complexity, keep experimenting with effects, but again, don't overdo it. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something new. If you did, I would really appreciate you leaving a like. And also, if you want to support the channel, you can check out the link in the description. That will take you to my store where you can download the source file for this little icon that we have created. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.